American administration is just relying on an empty wall. And I think he is a victim of his short-sighted policy.
Well, that could be true. I'd like to turn it around and look at another aspect with a very frank question. You're closer to the scene than I am, but when I was touring the West Bank and looking at the activity there, I had to come to the conclusion that these Jewish settlements were being built by Palestinians. They were building the settlements, they were doing the work, and they were being paid for it. And it seems to me that if the anti-settlement policy prevails, and if Israel blows the whistle and stops those settlements in their tracks, hundreds, if not thousands, of Palestinian construction workers will be out of work. So perhaps from an economic standpoint, it would be a good idea for President Abbas, and President Obama actually say, okay, let's let these hardworking men earn a living for their families and build. If the Jews want to live in the West Bank and there's space to build for them, so we'll build and they'll pay. Or am I kidding myself?
I think Mr. Abbas, the president of the PA, has made another mistake by not knowing the real situation. The real situation that although you are talking about Palestinian laborers building the settlements, but Abu Mazen should look at this point and trying to find jobs for those laborers instead of exporting them to Israel to work for settlements. Let them work for the Palestinian community.
That's a very good point, Jamil. Hamad. And Yitzhak Noy wants to come in on this.
My remark is this: if the Palestinian president truly believed that an American president, any American president, no matter how friendly, has enough convincing powers to talk the House of Representatives into forcing Israel to evacuate 300,000 settlers after 30 years and more of settlement there, then he's not worth his position as a president. He's not a politician. He's a child. That's what I have to say.
I agree with you. I agree with you that the president of PA should realize the situation in Israel, and it's not so easy to get the settlers back to Israel and evacuate the settlements in the West Bank. It takes a time. It takes a long time. And the Palestinian president should stop. He and his colleagues in the Palestinian administration should stop selling empty promises to his people, saying that we will do this and this, and he is not capable of doing anything.
Jamil,
that's the tragedy of the Palestinian people with their leaders.
Jamil, I want to thank you again. Jamil Hamad of Time Magazine. Thank you for enlightening us, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
Okay.
I'd like to say hello again to our colleague Elif Ural in Istanbul. Elif, by the way, was based in Israel for a few years and knows the situation in this country and the rest of the Middle East very well. But we're going to talk to her more about Turkey, where she's working these days. And the first question is about that article in the New York Times about what it called Ottomania, or a trend to be nostalgic about the Ottoman Empire that ruled Turkey for several hundred years. Do you think that article was valid?
Well, of course, it depends what do you really want to believe in. I mean, the article in the New York Times has some facts in it, but on the other hand, there is no confirmation about that, who would come up and say, yes, this is true, or no, this is not true. But of course, when you read the signs, there are some facts in the article that the Ottomania phenomenon of the Turkish government can be true. If you would remember, a couple of weeks ago, we did have another live connection like that, and there I tried to explain that there are a couple of reasons why the Prime Minister Erdogan is acting the way he is acting, because it is fairly a religious government. I mean, they're not radical Islamists, but you can see the signs of, religion in the way they govern. And I said, especially the prime minister's attitude towards the Arab countries and Israel could have been because that he kind of feels the responsibility of the entire Ottoman Empire and the history of Ottoman Empire, that he was acting as if he is the last heir of this empire. So, as I said, there are some facts in it that are true, but would anyone be able to give a confirmation about that? I don't think so.
Following up on that question, Yitzhak Noy has a question. It's about the attitude of Turkish intellectuals towards the Ottoman era.
My question to Elif Ural is this. We read in the newspapers that not all Turkish intellectuals are very happy with this new fashion of longings to the glorious days of the Ottoman Empire and so on and so forth. And many of them are quite critical of those days, knowing the facts and knowing how Turkey functioned as the sick man of Europe. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, this is my personal opinion, of course, because the Ottoman Empire is over. I mean, the times of Ottoman Empire is over. Today, now we have a republic, it's the Turkish Republic. The policies change not only in Turkey, but all around the world. And the Ottoman Empire times are over, as I said, and there are new politics, there are new strategies, and it's a totally new time. So trying to do things in this geography, depending on the strategies of the old times, wouldn't work. I mean, today Turkey is trying to become a part of the European Union, and the region itself, the Middle East and Europe has changed since these times. So I also believe that the Ottoman era is not good for Turkey. Turkey should have more relations with Europe and more common bases with Europe. But again, there's a part of the community in Turkey who are still longing for the times of the Ottoman Empire. But as we know from the history, empires are born and they develop, and then they die. And that's what happened to the Ottoman Empire as well.
I'd just like to close out our Middle East perspective for this week with a word of thanks for Elif Ural again, and of course to Yitzhak Noy of Israel Radio, who came on. By the way, Elif Ural works for CNN Turkey, the Turkish version of CNN, among other media in Istanbul. And this is Jay Bushinsky of CBS Radio in Tel Aviv.